Listen to me carefully. God's favorite woman doesn't raise her voice. She raises her energy. She doesn't fight battles with loud words. She wins them with silent moves. She's the kind of woman who could destroy you without even touching you, without screaming, without explaining, without lowering herself. She doesn't get into messy arguments. She doesn't compete. She simply outgrows the room. And suddenly, the same people who once underestimated her, they're left wondering where she went. You want to know why? Because a woman favored by God doesn't beg for respect. She commands it with her peace. She doesn't throw fits. She doesn't throw tantrums. She throws power just by showing up and throws silence like a sword. She doesn't have to curse them. She lets God handle them. Because she knows the real battles, they aren't fought with words. They are fought with dignity, with restraint, with self-worth dripping from your soul. You don't have to explain who you are when God already knows. So next time someone tries to drag you into their chaos, smile, walk away. Because queens don't argue with jesters. You are God's favorite woman. Act like it. Silence is power. I need you to understand something deeply. When a woman walks into a room, without uttering a word, her very presence speaks volumes. You see, most people think they need to argue, to shout, to fight for their place. But God's favorite woman doesn't. She doesn't need to say a word because she knows the weight her silence carries. Have you ever walked into a room where everything seemed to stop for a moment? Where everyone noticed you, but you didn't have to speak? That's the kind of power I'm talking about. The power that comes from within. A strength that doesn't need validation from others. It comes from the deep, calm knowledge that your worth is beyond what any noise can define. Your silence is so loud that it drowns out the chaos around you. Imagine this. You're in a heated conversation, a disagreement that could escalate. Everyone else is raising their voices, trying to be heard, throwing words like daggers. They're feeding off the tension, looking for a fight, for attention. But you remain silent. You take a step back. The room can't handle your calmness. They start to shift. They start to question themselves. They wonder why you're not engaging, why you're not defending yourself. And they begin to realize something. Your silence is your strongest defense. Think about the great leaders, the powerful women who came before us. Eleanor Roosevelt, who once said, "Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people." She didn't need to shout from the rooftops. She didn't need to engage in petty gossip or argument. She spoke softly, but her actions spoke volumes. She let the world see her through her work, through the change she brought. Her silence, it was her weapon. She didn't need to argue with ignorance. She chose to rise above it. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means that you're in control. It means you don't give away your power to people who are only trying to steal it. Think about a moment in your life when you had to bite your tongue, when everything in you wanted to retaliate, to say something, to defend your honor, your dignity. But instead, you chose to hold your peace. You took a step back and let the situation play out. Maybe they expected you to lash out, to prove your point, but you knew something they didn't. By keeping quiet, you were winning. Now, I want you to think of another example. Picture a situation where someone has hurt you. They've spoken ill of you. They've tried to tear you down with their words. In that moment, the world expects you to respond, to fight back, to prove them wrong. And yet, what do? You remain silent. You let them talk. You let them expose their own ignorance. Because that's all they are doing, revealing their true character. And you're simply sitting back, watching them make a fool of themselves, while you remain untouched. You see, silence is not about ignoring what's happening. It's not about hiding or backing down. No, it's about being so sure of who you are that you don't feel the need to react to every provocation. It's about knowing that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. When you choose silence, you're choosing self-control over chaos. You're choosing peace over conflict. And when you walk with that kind of strength, the world can't help but take notice. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have this incredible presence? The kind where they don't need to say much, but when they do, everyone listens. They speak when it matters and their words carry weight. This is the power of silence, the kind of silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. The woman who understands this doesn't engage in petty drama, she rises above it. Her silence becomes a shield, protecting her peace and her energy. Take a moment and think about how much energy we waste by engaging in arguments that don't matter. We spend so much time fighting battles that don't move us forward, that only drain us. Imagine how much energy you would save if you stopped arguing with every negative person, every time someone tries to pull you into their drama. Instead, you just walked away, letting your silence be the most powerful weapon you have. And you know what happens when you do this? You win every single time. And let's talk about the times when you've been hurt, deeply hurt, maybe by someone close to you, they've wronged you, betrayed your trust. And now you're left with a choice: respond with anger, retaliate with bitterness, or choose to remain calm, to heal in your own way, without giving them the satisfaction of seeing you crumble. The woman favored by God, she chooses silence. She doesn't need to explain herself, to beg for apologies. She knows that in time, the truth will always surface. She let the universe take care of it. When you choose silence, you elevate your worth. You show the world that you don't need to stoop down to fight with them. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Because when you're in your power, there's no need for noise. Your silence is louder than any words. It's a reflection of your strength, your maturity, your self-respect. You don't engage in battles that are beneath you. You don't waste your time with people who don't see your value. And when the right people come into your life, they will see you for who you truly are. They will respect your peace. So next time you're faced with a situation that triggers you, where you feel that urge to defend yourself or fight back, remember this: the greatest weapon you have is your ability to remain silent. Speak when you need to, but choose silence when you don't. Let your calmness speak for itself. Let your presence command respect. Let your silence show them just how powerful you really are. And watch as everything around you changes. Not every fight is yours. I want you to hear me, and I want you to feel these words deep within your soul. You do not have to fight every battle that comes your way. There is incredible strength in walking away from certain fights, in realizing that not every disagreement, every conflict, every drama demands your involvement. Most people spend their lives in unnecessary battles, fighting for validation, fighting for their reputation, fighting to prove they are right. But let me tell you something. The most powerful people are not the ones who win every fight. The most powerful people are the ones who know which fights to fight, and more importantly, which ones to walk away from. You see, we live in a world where the temptation to engage is constant. The world is full of people who will try to pull you into their chaos, into their drama, into their problems. They will do everything in their power to get a reaction from you, to drag you into their mess. And you know what? They will fail if you choose not to fight their battles for them. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult when you feel that your reputation is on the line, or when someone is attacking your character. It's hard when someone you love challenges you, when they push you to your limits. But in those moments, remember this: not every fight is yours to fight. Let's take a moment and think about something we've all experienced. A situation where someone said something about you, something untrue, something that could hurt your reputation. What's your first instinct? To defend yourself, to explain, to set the record straight. You want to show everyone that you're not what they're saying. And you know what? That's a natural response. But sometimes what happens when we engage in those battles is that we give away our energy, we give away our peace, we give away our dignity, and in the end we end up exhausted, fighting a fight that never really mattered in the first place. That's when you realize, this isn't about me anymore. It's about their insecurity, their need for validation, their attempt to drag me down to their level. I want to share a story with you, one I'm sure many of you can relate to. Imagine this. You're at work, and a colleague is constantly undermining you, questioning your ideas, making you feel small in front of others. It's frustrating, right? You feel the need to defend your ideas, to prove that you're worthy, to show them that you are better than they're giving you credit for. But what happens when you engage with them? You feed into their insecurity. You give them the satisfaction of seeing you struggle. You get pulled into their drama, into their need to be right, into their desire to feel superior. And what happens to your peace? What happens to your joy, your energy? It gets drained. So instead of getting involved in that battle, you choose to let it go. Let me tell you this. Walking away doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. You are not weak because you refuse to engage. You are wise because you understand that not every battle is yours to fight. Every time you choose not to argue, not to explain yourself, not to fight for someone else's approval, you are gaining control over your own energy. You are protecting your peace. And when you protect your peace, you protect your power. And that power, it's far more valuable than any argument you could win. Let's shift gears and think about a personal relationship. How many times have you found yourself fighting with someone you care about, whether it's a friend, a family member, or even a romantic partner? When you're hurt, when you're upset, it's natural to want to defend yourself, to make your feelings known, to make them see your side. But what happens when you fight in that moment? You hurt each other. You say things you don't mean. You create a gap where there used to be love and trust. You let the argument cloud the relationship. But there's another way. The wise woman knows that sometimes silence is the best response. Sometimes letting things settle, giving space, and not engaging in the fight, that's how you protect the relationship. That's how you protect your heart. There's a saying that goes, you don't have to show people you're strong by arguing with them. You show your strength by walking away from things that don't deserve your energy. And I want you to let that sink in. There's so much power in choosing to let go. You do not have to convince anyone of your worth. You do not have to fight for respect. When you walk away from unnecessary conflicts, you're showing your strength. You're showing that you are not defined by other people's opinions of you. That you do not need to defend yourself to feel worthy. You are worthy simply because you exist. Think about how much time and energy we waste on things that don't serve us. We argue with people who will never change their minds. We try to explain ourselves to people who will never understand. And in doing so, we exhaust ourselves. We lose our peace. We lose our joy. And for what? For a fight that wasn't even ours to begin with. So I want to challenge you. The next time someone tries to pull you into a fight, ask yourself, is this my battle to fight? If the answer is no, then walk away. Keep your peace. Keep your energy. Because when you don't fight unnecessary battles, when you don't waste your time and energy on people who don't deserve it, you create space for the things that matter. You create space for growth, for joy, for love, for peace. And that is where your real power lies. Not every fight is yours to fight, but the ones that are, oh, those are the ones you fight with everything you've got. Choose wisely. Choose peace over drama. I want you to really think about that for a moment. Dignity over drama. So often in life, we find ourselves caught in situations that are nothing but noise. People around us, situations around us, constantly creating chaos, stirring up conflict, seeking drama to feed their insecurities. And what happens? We get pulled in. We engage. We get caught up in the whirlwind. But let me tell you something. When you choose dignity over drama, you choose something that not everyone can understand. You choose a life that's rooted in self-respect, in peace, and in true strength. You know, I've seen it so many times. People battling it out over petty arguments, over misunderstandings, over issues that, when looked at with a broader perspective, don't even matter in the grand scheme of life. People fighting for attention, for approval, for validation. And what do they end up with? Nothing but empty victories. Because every time you choose drama, you choose to lose something much more valuable. Your dignity. And when you lose your dignity, you lose your power. Think about a moment when you've been dragged into someone else's drama. You've felt it, right? That moment when someone tries to pull you into their mess, their fight, their frustration. They're angry, they're upset, and they want you to join in. It could be a friend, a family member, a colleague, anyone. And there you are, standing at the edge of that storm, feeling the pull, the pressure to take sides, to defend yourself, to join in the fight. But let me ask you, what happens when you choose to walk away instead of fighting? What happens when you choose dignity? And I'll tell you what happens. The storm starts to lose its power. When you choose dignity over drama, you become untouchable. Not because you're above it all, but because you understand that your peace is worth more than any argument, any fight, any drama. You understand that your time, your energy, your emotional space are valuable. You understand that the chaos around you will never define you unless you let it. Now, let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're in a work environment and there's someone who constantly undermines you, takes credit for your ideas, talks behind your back, maybe even tries to make you look bad in front of others. In a situation like this, your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to argue, to expose them, to fight back. But I want you to pause. I want you to ask yourself, what does fighting this battle really give me? You know what happens when you engage in this kind of drama? You're not elevating yourself. You're not proving your worth. You're only lowering yourself to their level, getting caught in their energy. Drama feeds off your attention, and when you give it that power, you lose your dignity. But when you choose dignity, when you rise above it, when you continue to do your work with integrity, when you hold your peace and refuse to engage in the negativity, you take your power back. You stop letting the drama dictate your actions. You stop letting someone else's insecurities shape your behavior. And guess what? Eventually everyone else starts to see it. They see that you're above the petty arguments. They see that your work speaks for itself. Your dignity is what people will remember. And no amount of drama can ever take that away from you. Think about a moment in your personal life when someone has tried to pull you into their fight. It might have been a close friend, a family member, or even someone you love. They're upset, they want to argue, and suddenly you're stuck in the middle of it. Maybe they've said something hurtful, maybe they're angry at you for something you did, or maybe they just want to vent. In those moments, it can be so tempting to fight back, to explain yourself, to prove your point. But I need you to understand something. Choosing drama in that moment is like choosing to let go of your dignity. When you choose to hold your ground, when you choose to stand firm in your peace and not engage in the negativity, you are showing the highest form of strength. You are showing them that you know your worth, that you do not need to be dragged into their low energy spaces. You are showing them that your dignity is non-negotiable. And the beauty of this, you'll find that you can love people even in their mess without getting tangled in their chaos. Let me tell you this. Choosing dignity over drama isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about understanding that you have control over your own reactions, your own energy. It's about refusing to let someone else's emotional instability drag you down. And I'm telling you this. Your peace, your calm, your grace are worth far more than any moment of drama you could be a part of. There's a time to speak up. There's a time to stand your ground, and there's a time to let things go. But when you choose dignity, you make the conscious decision that you will no longer engage in the drama. You won't let the noise around you determine your mood, your actions, or your worth. Your dignity is the greatest asset you have. Protect it at all cost. And finally, think about the long-term effects of choosing dignity. Imagine you're looking back at your life, at the way you've responded to difficult situations, at the battles you've fought. Do you want to look back and remember the times you got caught up in petty arguments, in hurtful drama, in battles that didn't even matter? Or do you want to look back and say, I chose my dignity, I chose my peace, and I stood strong no matter what came my way? The person who chooses dignity will never regret it. They'll look back and see a life of strength, a life of grace, a life that no amount of drama could ever tarnish. Trust God's timing for justice. Let that sink in for a moment. Trust God's timing. Because there are moments in life when you feel the weight of unfairness, the sting of being misunderstood, or the burden of watching someone who hurt you get away without consequence. You wonder why, despite doing everything right, things aren't turning out in your favor. You wonder why the people who have wronged you seem to get ahead while you're left holding the pieces of your broken heart, wondering when is justice going to come? But here's the truth, and it's a truth that will give you peace, that will strengthen your soul. God's timing is always perfect, and His justice is always right on time. You see, when we look at the world, it's easy to get caught up in the chaos. We live in a society where everyone wants instant results, immediate gratification, and where things seem to happen the way they shouldn't. You see it all the time, the person who cheats the system, the one who lies their way to success, the person who steps on others to climb up the ladder. And you've done it the right way. You've been patient, you've been kind, you've worked hard, and yet it feels like you're still waiting, still struggling, while others breeze through life, unaffected by their choices. And that frustration, that feeling of being overlooked, of being treated unfairly, it's real, it's deep. But I want you to understand something. God's timing for justice doesn't follow the world's clock. It doesn't work on your schedule. It doesn't operate on the timeline you want. But here's the power in that. God's timing for justice is always better than anything you could imagine. The way He brings justice into your life is far greater than what you could ever orchestrate yourself. Let me tell you a story. There's a woman who for years worked tirelessly in her career. She gave everything she had to her job, pouring her heart and soul into it, but no matter how hard she worked, her efforts were overlooked. The promotion that was promised to her went to someone else, someone less deserving. She watched as people who had no integrity, no hard work, no sincerity were rewarded while she was left behind. And let me tell you, in that moment, she felt the sting of injustice. She felt anger rising inside her, questioning why life was so unfair. She wanted to fight back, to expose the lies, to scream for justice. But she didn't. Instead, she took a deep breath and she trusted God. She trusted that in His timing, she would be seen. She trusted that God's plan for her life was greater than anything that was happening right now. And you know what happened? Months later, the company went through a major shift. That person who took her promotion, they were exposed for unethical practices. The people who overlooked her, they were forced to recognize the value of her work. The very same company that had ignored her, they offered her a new position, one that was more aligned with her abilities, her worth, and her integrity. It wasn't just a promotion. It was a restoration of everything she had worked for. God's justice didn't come when she wanted it. It came when it needed to. And it was far more rewarding than anything she could have planned herself. This is the beauty of trusting God's timing for justice. It doesn't always come when we expect it. It doesn't always come on our timeline. But when it comes, it's better than we could ever imagine. Look at the story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery. He was imprisoned for something he didn't do, falsely accused. For years, Joseph waited. For years, he struggled. But Joseph didn't give up on God's plan for him. He kept trusting. He kept believing that God would bring justice at the right time. And when it came in such a way that Joseph not only found justice, but also became second in command of Egypt. The same brothers who betrayed him had to come to him for help when famine struck. God's timing was perfect. But I know, it's hard, I know. When you feel overlooked, when you feel like you've been wronged, it's so easy to want to take matters into your own hands. You want to make things right. You want to prove your worth. You want to show everyone that you're not who they think you are. But I'm here to tell you, let go of the need to control the outcome. Trust in God's timing for justice. He is working behind the scenes. Even when you don't see it, even when you don't feel it, He's moving on your behalf. There's something so powerful in surrendering the desire to take control. When you trust God's timing, you free yourself from the burden of resentment, from the weight of bitterness, and from the constant need to fight for your own vindication. You release the heavy chains of frustration and place them into the hands of someone who has the power to make things right in a way that you never could. And let me tell you, God's justice is perfect. It is fair. It is right. It is beyond what you could ever create with your own efforts. So, next time you feel like the world is unfair, like justice is delayed, remember, God has not forgotten you. He sees every hurt. He sees every tear. He sees every moment of unfairness. And He will make things right, but you must trust His timing. Trust that when the time is right, He will bring justice in the most profound, beautiful way possible. You don't need to fight the battle. You don't need to chase after revenge. You just need to trust that God is working it out. His plan is perfect. His timing is flawless. And His justice is worth the wait. So hold on, hold strong, and keep your faith. The justice you're waiting for is coming, and it's going to be more than worth it. Energy speaks louder than words. Think about it for a moment. Energy speaks louder than words. We live in a world where we are constantly interacting with people, friends, family, colleagues, strangers. Yet despite all the words we exchange, it's often the energy that we bring into these interactions that leaves the biggest impact. You see, words are important. They matter. But they are just a small part of the equation. It's the energy behind those words, the energy we project in every room, in every conversation, that truly communicates who we are. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt something, not because of anything anyone said, but because of the vibe, the energy in the space? Maybe it was the warmth and kindness that made you feel at ease. Or maybe it was tension, negativity, or anger that made you want to leave as quickly as possible. That's energy. It's an invisible force, but it's powerful. It has the power to lift you up or pull you down, to inspire or drain you. And whether we realize it or not, we all carry this energy with us everywhere we go. Let me take you back to a moment in your life when you met someone for the first time. It could have been a stranger or someone you've known for a while, but something about them stood out. Maybe it was their confidence, their calmness, or their warmth that you immediately felt. And you don't even have to ask them about their day or how they were feeling. You could just tell from their energy that there was someone you wanted to be around. You could feel the positivity radiating from them. That's energy speaking louder than words. Now think about the opposite. Have you ever met someone who said all the right things, but you couldn't shake the feeling that something was off? Maybe they smiled, they gave you the right compliments, but something in their eyes, something in their presence didn't align with their words. You felt a tension, you felt a distance. That's energy too. And let me tell you something, no matter how many flattering words are spoken, if the energy isn't right, nothing is going to feel real. This is why energy speaks louder than words. People can say whatever they want, but their energy is what people remember. It's what people are drawn to. It's what leaves a lasting impression. in relationships, in work, in life. It's the energy you carry that makes people either gravitate toward you or push away. Your energy is your true communication. And when you learn to align your energy with your words, when you learn to radiate positivity, confidence, love, and calmness, you will see the world around you begin to shift. People will start responding to you in a way that reflects the energy you are giving out. Think about how your energy can affect those around you. If you walk into a room and you're frustrated, angry, or anxious, that energy will fill the room before you even open your mouth. People will feel it. They will feel the tension in your body language, the tightness in your voice, the restlessness in your movements, and without you saying a word, they will know exactly what you're feeling. And that's what will influence them, not the words you say. On the other hand, when you walk into a room with a positive energy, an open heart, and a calm presence, people are drawn to that. They want to be near you, they feel safe around you, they feel heard, seen, and understood, even if you haven't said anything yet. Have you ever been in a situation where someone walks into a room and suddenly the entire atmosphere changes? It becomes lighter, more positive, more open. That's energy at work. It's the power of being present in your own energy. And it's magnetic. People can't help but respond to it. Let's take a practical example. Think about a time when you had to go into a challenging situation, maybe a difficult conversation, a job interview, or a presentation. You know, the kind of moments that can make your stomach churn, your hands shake, your heart race. But here's the thing. The way you approach that situation with your energy will determine how it unfolds. If you approach it with fear, with doubt, with hesitation, that's what people will pick up on. They won't just hear your words, they'll sense your insecurity. But if you walk into that room with confidence, with a sense of calm, with a belief that you have something valuable to offer, no matter what happens in that moment, you will command respect. You will own the room with your energy. People will feel it, even if you don't say a word. And this applies in every area of your life, whether you're in a relationship, at work, or just going about your day-to-day activities. Your energy is your true language. Think about a time when someone said something so small, but the way they said it, the energy behind it, made you feel deeply moved or inspired. Maybe it was just a simple compliment or a small gesture, but it came from a place of genuine love, care, or understanding. And you could feel it. You could feel the sincerity in their energy. That's the power of energy. It transcends words. It's felt deeply. It's what people remember. I want you to understand this, because this is life-changing. When you are aligned with your own energy, when you are at peace with yourself, when you are confident in who you are, you no longer need to chase validation through your words. Your energy will do the work for you. It will attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences into your life. When your energy is pure, when it's authentic, when it's full of love and light, it speaks louder than anything you could ever say. And here's the secret. When you trust in your own energy, you stop looking for approval from others. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop trying to convince people of your worth. Because deep down you know that your energy speaks for itself. It's the most powerful thing you have. It's the truest reflection of who you are. It's the deepest communication you can give to the world, the strength to walk away. Let that sink in for a moment. We often think that strength is about fighting. We believe that the toughest people are the ones who never give up, who push through everything, who keep on battling until the very end. But let me tell you something. There is another kind of strength that people rarely talk about. The strength to walk away, the strength to know when enough is enough, when it's time to let go, and when to say, I deserve more than this. It's not easy. Walking away isn't about giving up. No. It's about choosing yourself over everything else. Choosing peace over chaos. Choosing your mental health, your happiness, and your well-being, even if it means stepping away from something or someone that once meant the world to you. That takes immense strength. It's the kind of strength that most people don't understand, because walking away often feels like weakness in a world that glorifies perseverance and endurance. But think about it. How many times have you stayed in a toxic situation, a toxic relationship, or a job that drained the life out of you simply because you didn't want to be seen as weak? How many times have you kept going even though everything inside you is screaming for you to stop? How many times did you feel your soul being chipped away little by little just to prove something to the world? That's not strength. That's fear. Fear of being judged, fear of being alone, fear of failing. But let me tell you, walking away is not failure. Walking away is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of immense self-respect. It's the strength to choose your peace over any external validation, over any toxic attachment, over any broken promise that isn't worth holding on to anymore. Let's take a real life example. Think about a relationship, any relationship. Maybe you've been in one where you gave it your all. You invested time, love, energy, and emotion. You stayed when things were hard because you thought that staying meant you were strong. You fought through the arguments, the misunderstandings, the betrayals, hoping that things would get better. But over time, you realized that the love you were giving wasn't being returned in the same way. You were giving more than you were getting. And yet, you stayed. Why? Because you didn't want to walk away. You didn't want to be seen as the one who quit, the one who gave up. But here's the truth. Walking away from that relationship, even after everything you've invested, isn't quitting. It's the ultimate act of self-love. You walk away not because you're weak, but because you are strong enough to acknowledge that you deserve more. More love, more respect, more peace. You deserve to be with someone who matches your energy, who values you the way you deserve to be valued. And when you choose to walk away,